Hello, let's see. Hello. How we doing? Welcome. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to get started here in just a moment. We're going to give 2 or 3 minutes just for people to join. I know sometimes when you're coaching classes, it's hard to leave the class and then hop on a webinar. So if you are live in the audience, go ahead and drop in where you're from, what your gym name is, how long you guys been in business, and what type of fitness do you serve. So I'd like to get to know who's on the call. And like I mentioned before, we're going to wait a minute or two just to let a few more people join, and then we'll get rocking and rolling. I do have Hillary in the backstage. She's going to be helping me with the slides today. Usually you'll see her drop some comments and polls in the chat. So as those come out, feel free to interact. If you do have questions as we're going, please type those in the chat. Sometimes I'll cover those as we're going through, and other times we might save it till the end. So. Hi, Liza. Welcome from Boston. What gym are you with, and what type of fitness, and how long you guys been open? Duddy Performance. Okay, great. Personal training, small group personal training. Awesome. Oh, 2021. Wonderful. Great. Well, welcome. Hope you get a lot of value out of the content we're going to share today. So we're going to wait about 2 more minutes just to let people get on. I know they're coming out from classes, so just give another minute or two. Hi, Morgan, from Krav Maga, Maryland, self-defense and fitness classes. Been in business for 20 years. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's impressive. Congratulations. That's so great. I'm sure we have a lot to learn from you. So that's wonderful. Great. Okay. If you're just joining us, I see a few more people jumping on. If you're just joining us, let us know where you're from, what the name of your gym or studio, and how long you guys have been in business, and what type of fitness do you serve your community with. All right. We're going to go ahead and get started. Looks like we have a pretty good sized group here, so feel free to drop any questions in the chat as we go. My name is Mike Wuest. I am a 10-year veteran. I owned a CrossFit facility for 10 years. I just sold it about 2 years ago. I also work here at Zen Planner. I run our marketing team, and I get to do a lot of these great webinars, get to interact with a lot of our customers all over the world. So excited to be here, excited to serve, and hope to deliver a lot of value today. So go ahead, Hillary. Let's go to the next one. Great. All right. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about pricing strategies and some ways you all can leverage different types of pricing models in terms of increasing revenue. So we're going to talk about when should you do a price increase and how do you communicate that to your members? What are some different pricing models and how maybe traditionally you do class-based or by month, but there's other options. And the goal here is just to open up your eyes to other options to see if that's the right fit for you and your community. A question I get asked really regularly is, should I show my pricing on the website? And when you should do that and when you should let people opt in to get more pricing information. So I'll deep dive into that strategy. It's a great way to generate leads. And then a look at hybrid plans and ways you can add more value to your members and also increase revenue that really has an impact in your community, in retention, and obviously in revenue. So next slide. So we're going to jump to our first poll question. So Hillary's going to drop this. You should see this pop up on the screen. So where are you at in your pricing strategy journey? So are you, are you optimized and you tested different models? we made some updates recently. It's kind of outdated, really haven't touched it. We just kind of go with the flow. Or, hey, we've never really thought about pricing, don't really have a strategy for it. I just want to get some feedback from the audience, so feel free to fill out that poll. Cool. Looks like we got some votes coming in. Awesome. Yeah, make sure you guys fill that out. And we have a number of people on the call. So I'd like to just see where you guys are at. So some updates recently. A couple people said they've optimized. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, so fill that out. Let us know in the chat. And great. So, all right, Hillary, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Oh, one person says, I don't have a strategy yet. Awesome. Well, that's good. That's why we're here. Okay, so one of the things, I've been very fortunate. I've been able to talk to thousands of gym owners over the last 10 years that I've been in the industry. I've been in software, and just my time here, last 5 years here at Zen Planner. We obviously care deeply about our communities, deeply about the people we serve. And sometimes we make those decisions at the detriment to the health of the business, right? So I know one mistake I made when I opened my gym in 2013 was I told all my members that they're going to be grandfathered in for the life of the gym. Well, what I didn't anticipate at that time, being a young gym owner, was, hey, my rent automatically increases 2% every year. Hey, I need to expand my facility because we're at capacity. Hey, I need to refresh my equipment every 3 to 5 years, depending on the type of equipment. Hey, we need to invest in bathrooms, and we need to invest in new flooring. I remember doing a concrete project because our concrete was busted up. So how often do you increase prices, and do you increase on everybody? Is it only people who are net new? This is a big concern. A lot of gym owners that I talk with is saying, hey, man, what happens if I do a price increase? Are people going to leave? So there's a number of strategies you can do here, right? So obviously, I think one of the really great programs that I had at my gym that I think is valuable is I had a cohort of members that represented from each of my classes, 1 to 2 people, that whenever I needed to make a change in the gym or do something like a price increase, I always pulled that group together and had a small focus group, or I just asked some questions on how's the gym performing? How is your class experience? Are you getting value? Get that really great feedback, and then say, hey, I'm going to be proposing these changes soon. What do you think about that? Now, you don't have to do that. For me, it was the right decision in my community, and I leveraged that group for a lot of the decisions I made. But ultimately, this is a business. As a business feeds your family, it provides income for your coaches and trainers. And so you have to do what's always best for the business. And I know sometimes that's easy to blend between being, friends with your members, but also you are running a business. So one of the questions I always get, though, is how do I do a price increase? Well, in the last 5 years, going through COVID, a lot of the changes that are happening, sometimes price increases are necessities. So I think first and foremost, what I would recommend is putting in your membership agreement that people sign that you will be looking at pricing on an annual basis. And some gyms I talk to have a default, hey, it's a 2% increase annually at your membership renewal, while others say we have reserved the right to increase prices at any time. There's been a lot of changes with, inflation, other things being more expensive, minimum wage laws, things like that. So you have to make sure you can cover your overhead, but also provide for your family. So in terms of strategy of how to execute this, we have a template on the screen that is a great thing to work off of in terms of sending that letter. But my recommendation is to give them a little bit of a heads up. I know at one point I called every single member of my gym and told them, hey, I need to do a price increase. And every time I've done price increases in the past, I've never lost a member over it, right? I think it's just because of the clear transparency, the reasons why, where we're going to be reinvesting the money. I think that's really important. Hey, more training for my coaches. Hey, we're going to refresh our equipment annually. I've even seen some gyms that have a annual fee that they attach to memberships, so they can do things like invest in their equipment or their space. So, and then obviously you want to monitor and discuss those things with your members, especially when you make the change. But if you're doing a really good job and your pricing goes up $5 or $10 per month, most people aren't going to sweat it. And if they do sweat it, they were probably out the door anyway. So feel confident about this. You have to do what's right for your business to support your family. All right. By the way, if you guys have any questions as we go, feel free to drop those in the chat and I'll keep an eye on that. So I wanted to share this. There's definitely different types of pricing models, and I wanted to show you some math on how those impact. So I know some gyms do monthly, where they bill just like on the 1st or the 15th of the month, and they get 12, those 12 payments throughout the year. So here's an example: monthly pricing, $150 a month, 12 payments a year. There's your monthly revenue. There's your yearly revenue. I've seen other gyms price on a 28-day model. So $150 every 28 days, you actually get an extra payment. And so you can increase your monthly revenue by almost $2,000 and then annually about $20,000. So you have to determine what's right for you. And the reason I'm sharing this is there are a couple of times a year where you have 5 weeks in the month. So your overhead, your expenses in those months is higher than maybe what you originally budgeted for. And so I think when you're a young business owner, you may not think about that. You might just say, hey, I'm going to charge once a month. But people are actually getting more service and more access a couple of times a year because of those extra weeks that are in a month. You can also do the same thing on biweekly prices where you're charging a little bit less, not a little bit less, but you're charging it every 2 weeks. So it has the same effect as the 28-day pricing, but you can also do this where it ties in with typical paydays like the 1st to 15th of the month. So these are just a couple of pricing models. I have a few more to share, but this is just a quick math to show the impact. And if that's something you're interested in, you can obviously set that up in Zenpire. All right, Hillary, next slide, please. Okay, so one of the biggest questions I get, I'm very fortunate I get to talk with gym and studio owners every single week on these weekly success sessions that we host. And one of the questions I get is, when should I list my pricing on my website? So I want to talk about that just a little bit in detail. So if you have a really good engine for your marketing, you're getting consistent leads every month, you're converting a number of those leads, all of that is good. Put your pricing on your website. What the pricing on the website is going to do is filter out anybody that's price sensitive. So if you charge $150 a month, anybody that sees that on your website and they're very price sensitive, they're not going to opt in typically. The other option is you put your pricing page on the website. You can do strategies like, hey, our prices start at $6, $7 per class. You can definitely do that. And then have an opt-in form that says, hey, opt in to get our full pricing information. And so what you'll see there is you'll actually have an increase in leads because of that strategy. What's nice about that is it gives you an opportunity to showcase your value via a phone call, an in-person meeting, over text messages, where people may be price anchoring your business, especially if you do a group class, to something like a general access facility, like think of like a Crunch Fitness or Planet Fitness. So a lot of times in certain markets, you'll see those businesses advertising. They'll say, hey, for $10 a month, you get this amazing 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 square foot facility with all this equipment. Well, people will associate, hey, $10, $20 a month. But then when they go to your facility, you're offering coaching, you're offering a small class experience. It's kind of a personal training, small group experience versus a general access gym. And so a lot of times, the perception in the market is hey, I can go get a fitness for 10, 20 bucks a month. Well, those gyms thrive on 90+% of their members never showing up in any given day. Versus a lot of the gyms that we work with are class-based or coach-based, and you want your members to show up because you actually want to deliver results to them. And for them to improve, if they're a martial arts facility, you want them to rank up in their belts, in their knowledge. And so that's definitely something to really consider. And if you're unsure of how to do this, we have a really great platform called Engage that hosts your website, and we can make it really easy to set up a form to do opt-in. And I would also suggest testing this out. So at my gym, May was a really tough month. I'm in a college town, so in May we would lose a lot of college students. And so typically in April, what I would do is I would remove my pricing for my website, put the opt-in form, and then I capture a little bit more leads. And what we're typically seeing is about 14% of people that opt in on the pricing page are converting to members. So that may be a little bit less than what you see from your advertising campaigns or people who organically hit your website. But your lead volume goes up, and now those people are in your database and you can market to them regularly. So just a couple strategies on pricing on the website. If you need more leads, pull your pricing out, do something like a price per class and get people to opt in. If your part of your lead funnel is doing really well, put your pricing in because maybe you want to filter people out. But if you need to grow, my recommendation is to price per class and put an opt-in form. So, all right, Hillary, next slide, please. Cool. The last thing I want to cover around membership plans is hybrid memberships. So a lot of gyms that we work with offer basically class access, meaning you get 3 times a week, you get unlimited, and members are having a great experience. But if you really want to build income for your coaches plus build revenue for the gym, my recommendation is a hybrid plan. So hybrid plans look something like this. You can have your base plan that's your standard rate, 150 bucks a month. Or you can do things at scale, like nutrition coaching, where you can have your base plan, but then you add nutrition coaching. That nutrition coaching is an extra 50 bucks, but you blend it together as one payment. What you'll see people buying that middle tier plan because people don't want it. It's like going to a restaurant, right? You're buying a combo meal. You'll buy that medium-sized combo meal, not the large, not the small, because the middle feels safer. You can also do this with things like personal training. You can do this with, digital training courses or resources where you're adding value. One thing I did in my gym was our base plan did not get access to our seminars. But if you're in our hybrid middle tier plan, our seminars that we did once or twice a month were free. But if you weren't on that plan, then they were, 25 or 30 bucks for those seminars. So really think about hybrid plans as a way to drive revenue, but also provide income for your coaches, and building these programs and offering that to new people coming through the door. You're going to see a lot more people opt into a middle tier plan where it has some additional value. The good thing is you're doing this and you're adding value to the member. They're going to get more value out of their experience with you. So they're going to stay longer. Their revenue over time is going to increase your lifetime value. And then over time, you're going to have a lot of your people on base plans upgrading to a nutrition coaching, personal training seminar, however you structure those hybrid plans, because you have options for them. So just wanted to share that because not a lot of people are running hybrid plans. But man, hybrid plans for me, was one of the great revenue drivers of the business, but also added a ton of value to my members. So, next slide, please. Cool. So we're going to talk a little bit about payments in this next part of the presentation. So I got a little poll here. Are transaction fees cutting into your revenue? So you have yes, they are. Credit card fees are paying. Somewhat we're managing. C, no, we've already all set them. And D, we're not sure. So obviously we know a lot of people are use their credit cards to pay. Some gyms are set up with ACH, which is great. But most people feel very comfortable leveraging their credit card to pay for memberships. So how are you guys managing that? Are you just eating the fees? Is it something that you're managing? Maybe you've increased prices that cover some of that fee. Do you add a fee on top of it? I want to get an understanding of the people watching this webinar and what they're doing. So cool. So I'm seeing majority of the votes are somewhat, but we're managing. So, and then another one that says, I'm not sure. Okay, that's great. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. We're going to talk about some opportunities here. So last year we released a program called Flex Fees, and it's a way to supplement your transaction fees when somebody purchases from you. So go ahead and hit the next slide. So let's talk a little bit about what flex fees are. So if you've ever been to a big city, or maybe even where you live, and you go to a restaurant or you go to a coffee shop, you may see when you're checking out that they have their prices for their items, and then as you're signing the receipt, you'll pay your taxes, and then you'll pay a flex fee or a transaction fee. So we've been able to bring this to the Zen Planner community, and now you're able to add a transaction fee on top of that membership, right? So let's look at what this looks like from a math perspective. So if your membership price is $150, you have that 30% flex fee that covers all of your payment processing. The member's going to pay $154. You're going to earn $154. And the 3% flex fee actually covers the transaction fee. So your effective rate on your, maybe a 3.89% processing for credit card fees drops to a 0.89. So we're seeing a lot of adoption across our customers all over the US. And this is a really great way for you to put that in front or on top of your membership to cover those transaction fees. So we have a lot of really good examples. I'm going to share with you here a video from one of our customers who was a little bit nervous about introducing this to his facility. But once he did, he's going to share his results from that. So basically, flex fees is at a small charge to the credit card or ACH payment, helps your gym cover the transaction costs and boost your revenue. So Hillary, let's go to the next one, please. So I wanted to kind of build this out for a year. And so what does this look like, right? So with flex fees, your revenue before I showed you was $22,750. With flex fees, you're going to add an extra almost $700 a month in revenue. And in a year's time, that's $8,100. So with an additional $8,100, let me know in the chat, what would you buy for your gym? Right? Or what would you do for yourself? Would you take yourself on a nice vacation? Maybe you're going to upgrade some equipment in the gym. Same thing on the ACH side, cover the ACH transaction, extra $150 a month. That's like adding a brand new membership every single month. And then an extra $2,000 a year. So once again, more money in your pocket to do what you want, invest back into your facility, invest in coach or trainer development, or treat yourself and go on a nice vacation with your family. All right, next slide, Hillary. Cool, so we're gonna share a video from CrossFit 1926 and they're gonna tell us a little bit about why they implemented flex fees, what was the transition process, and then what were the results. So Hillary, will you cue up the video?
I hate raising rates.
I know.
Every time I talk with seminar staff or I'm at a new training and they hear what our rates are, they're like, oh, you've got to raise those rates.
Can I ask you what your rates are?
3 times a week, single athlete, $85 a month. I know, you have to know our area. We got to get them in the door first. And so we've kept fees low and we want to keep them fairly low, having the ability to use these flex fees in particular to be able to pass on processing fees to our members. They get it. It's really allowed for us to keep member costs down and to give them the flexibility on what kind of fees they're going to want to see too.
The key things about flex fees is really just being completely transparent. And I know when flex fees came out, a lot of feedback we were getting is, how are my members going to react to this? How is my community going to react to this? Well, the data tells us everything we need to know. As gyms and studios are implementing flex fees into their business, they're not getting pushback from their members. Their members are understanding as long as they're transparent about it up front. So don't just surprise them and turn this on and surprise them, but let them know. Just say, hey, the cost of doing business is going up. I know your insurance goes up every year. Your rent typically goes up every year. What you pay your staff goes up every year. And this is a great opportunity for you to collect more revenue, and your members are going to be okay with it. So don't have any fear when it comes to flex fees. It's definitely a great way to drive some additional revenue in your business. And in CrossFit 1926 example, every time I've seen that video, I'm astonished that he was only charging $85 a month. But I get it. Certain communities, certain areas of the country, may not be big enough to support a higher membership rate. I totally understand that. So, Hillary, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So, how to implement flex fees? Like I mentioned before, being transparent is super, super key. And then how are you going to leverage those fees? I think that's really important. Definitely communicate that this is coming. That's maybe in your Facebook community. Obviously, you need to send an email. Maybe you'll post something at the front desk. And then position it really as a benefit. So, instead of increasing prices every year, maybe you can just add the flex fees, and that would cover what you would normally charge in a price increase. How are you going to improve services? How are you going to reinvest in your staff, your equipment, and your programs? So, people were really pretty apprehensive when we first announced this, but as more and more gyms have adopted flex fees in their operation, we've actually seen a lot of really positive feedback. And, now gym owners are going on more vacations and supporting their family and their communities better. Next slide, please. So let me just run you through some quick math. I think it's always important to show the work, right? So we've been discussing like the base plan and what that looks like in terms of your revenue. If you were to move to something like a 28-day pricing, that's where you get that extra payment. So there's that increase. If you start adding those hybrid plans and you see the blend of, 150 member community, how many people are going to be on the 150 plan? How many are on the 200 plan, the 250? You can see how your revenue is starting to jump pretty significantly just with a couple of tweaks to your offering. And then you plug in flex fees on top of that. And we have a nice mix of ACH users versus credit card users. You can notice how we've increased revenue by $100,000 without changing or adding one single additional member. So adding more value to your members over time and leveraging the right programs and pricing models, hybrid plans, and flex fees can literally add $100,000. And if your operations are really dialed in, that's a ton of profit going right to the bottom line, right? So you can pay yourself invest in your facility. So tons of opportunities. That's what this whole learn a little bit about what opportunities are out there. Maybe not every part of this model makes sense, but in my opinion, the feedback we've gotten on flex fees is very, very positive. And members are incredibly receptive to that. Okay, next slide, Hillary. Cool. So just a quick poll. I talked a lot about flex fees last 5-10 minutes. How likely are you to test flex fees at your gym? Is this something you're interested in? Let us know in the poll. All right, seeing some votes starting to come in. Cool. People want to learn more. Somebody says, hey, I'm ready. Let's jump in. All right, great. Well, I'm going to show you here in just a moment on how to get started with flex fees and give you all some additional resources. So, people want to learn more. A couple more people say I'm ready. Awesome. Well, before I show you how to get more, I do want to open up for questions. So if you have questions, please drop that in the chat. I'm happy to have some more conversation. By the way, if you are watching this live, you will get an email with the recording in it, so that will be coming. And feel free to share that with, if you have another owner, a head coach, a general manager, etc. So, okay, I'm just checking the chat. I don't see any questions coming through. So if you have any questions, we have another 14 minutes available for this webinar today. But Hillary, go ahead and go to the next slide. I want to share how people can learn more. So you see a couple QR codes in here. The one on the left is our guide. So we have a guide to flex fees. And so this really just takes what I shared today, but goes a little bit deeper in terms of how things work. So you can scan that QR code, go to the website. It'll get you a download to learn more about flex fees. But if you're ready to take the next step and talk to our team, flex fees cost nothing out of pocket, by the way. So it's just we have to get you signed up. You can hit that second QR code, and then it'll get you linked up with one of our members of our account management team to get flex fees activated in your community. One quick caveat: flex fees is not available in every single state. This is a state-by-state thing. So just keep that in mind. But when you talk to our account management team, Tom, Kira, JT, etc., they'll let you know, if your facility is eligible, and then walk you through any additional details you may have questions about. So check out those QR codes. Once again, my name is Mike here at Zen Planner. Excited to hopefully you guys get a lot of value out of today, and I hope that we can continue to help you grow your gyms. You all are doing amazing work, and gym owner to gym owner, I'm just so appreciative. I know what it's like day in and day out running a gym. It's tough. It's one of the toughest industries, I think, in the world. So really happy you guys are here. If you have any questions, I'd love to reach out to me. It's just mike.wuest@zenplanner.com. I'll type that in the chat. Feel free to shoot me an email. And for those of you that come to my success calls that I host Tuesdays and Thursdays, looking forward to seeing you soon. All right. Thanks so much, y'all. Have a great rest of your week.